reactions back with another video. So we're gonna talk about this interesting article that IGN just picked up. So this one is a really good topic. If you grew up in the 90s, chances are you were a part of the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers craze, while some of you may have dropped off after the first theatrical movie. The Power Rangers franchise has kept chugging along after all of these years. I almost messed up that line right there. So, and I think people had never heard of Power Rangers. They always remember the original team and not the current team. But you got like different generations of kids that are watching Power Rangers, and they're going to say Samurai is their start, Megaforce was their start, Ninja Steel was their start, and then you have casual fans like myself that don't even like seasons that are really terrible with little to no effort being put in it, no high stakes, and no moments, no serious moments, and it's just those Neil Bond series. It just wasn't cutting it for me. The only series that really did it for me was Dino on Charge in season 1. The season came after that sucked. Ninja Steel, worse. Both seasons are just completely terrible with no high stakes, no moments whatsoever. Every single episode was just filler after filler. And it goes back to 1993 when Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which is another but filler episodes after filler episodes. At least the actors who played the Rangers made it more interesting in terms of how to come up with plans and what to do to solve the issue and everything. So I think that's what the original Rangers started from. And now you look at Dino Fury, they have some filler episodes, but at least they kept some of their original concept from the first episode and try to make it more sense now that you think about it. So let's continue. After changing hands a couple of times, with even Disney holds the rights to the franchise at one point, Power Rangers is now under the watchful eye on Hasbro, and just like how it handles the Transformers franchise, Power Rangers has seen a significant evolution since Hasbro buyout. Now, I remember 4 years ago when Hasbro brought Power Rangers back in 2018, and it was a shocker. I thought it was just going to be for the toys, but apparently they didn't just want the toys, they wanted the shows, movies, video games, etc. And now we're getting a respectful reboot of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers on Netflix. Now, as far as like, them doing a time traveling bull crap and replacing male Rangers with female Rangers, and that's just a little bit too much, to be honest with you. So I don't believe none of that crap Illuminati said before, and I still don't believe it now. They got some things right, but a lot of it can be wrong and overtime. So I think for the most part, when Hasbro bought the rights to Power Rangers 4 years ago, I feel like it was a perfect transition. It started with the toys, and then they ended up showing the Lightning Collection of Tommy the White Ranger, and which looked great. And ever since then, you've seen nothing but people complain about every single toy that came out with the Lightning Collection. The paint jobs went right, and a lot of people don't realize that if you put out a toy out of Hasbro's Lightning Collection at a toy fair, you have to realize that it's just a prototype. It's not the official look; it's a prototype. So people need to get it through their skull. You can't expect everything to be perfect just because you say so. Back to the video. The fruits of this evolution are evident in all forms of media, from the new action figures being produced by Hasbro to the Boom Studio comic books. But the bread and butter of the franchise is still its live action TV series, and it's been happening since 1983. And you can't help but to, wonder, how are they still doing this? Because number one, they have the money to continue to go on with it. Even if it has this original footage, they also use footage from the Japanese series. Use footage from Sentai. And yes, they have some errors there, but you have to realize that this is aimed towards kids. Not everything has to be perfect. But I will say this, since Hasbro owns the rights to the Power Rangers, they are doing animations, but the thing is, they can just do all these shows. One could be a mature TV show of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers on Netflix for teens and adults, and the other could be about kid shows using Sentai stock footage and original footage. and the last one could be for animations. I've said this in the past, and I'm going to continue to say it again until my voice is heard. And people are so quick to jump to conclusion and think that everything is just going to stop using Sentai altogether. And you know what? I'm just tired of talking about it, because there are people out there that are still believing in this stuff. So, yeah, the live action TV show will continue on, and I hope they stick around. I mean, even if they wanted to, but it's up to them if they wanted to. With each season began based on the iteration of Super Sentai, the latest Power Rangers season is Dino Fury, which sees another return of the dinosaur. Yeah, just the return of the dinosaur things. Yeah. So this part of the article is saying that even though the latest Power Rangers season is Dino Fury, it is based off Real Soldier, another dinosaur-based theme TV show. It goes back to 1993 when the Power Rangers were dinosaur theme. I can't even talk right. I don't know what's wrong with me. For the most part, Real Soldier is not a good Sentai. I think Dino Fury kind of fixed some of its problems, but it was pretty much the same kind of issues as well. It's a good season overall, but it's not that perfect. It was just a good show overall. Now, going back to Mighty Morphin, which Zyuranger was based off, and it was pretty much the first dinosaur thing. So I think every Power Ranger season that they adapt from dinosaur themes Sentai can also come out good or bad. But I think for the most part, the dinosaur themes shows are pretty much better than any other different incarnations of, Sentai shows that they adapted from. So we'll have to see how it goes, whatever Sentai they adapt from in the future. So with this amazing new season available worldwide on Netflix, here's why we think you should check it out and re-immerse yourself in the world of Power Rangers. I have trouble getting that word out because the way it was written though, but I don't know why they write it like that. I just don't like how grammars be looking weird though, but yeah, you get the point. Power Rangers Dino Fury is the 4th season in the entire franchise to feature dinosaurs as a central motif of the Rangers' costumes, Zords, and abilities. The first season of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Dino Thunder, and Power Rangers Dino Charge have all used this motif of great success. And I agree. Mighty Morphin was the first. It was the birth of the franchise. It wasn't even that perfect, to be honest with you. It was just filler of the filler, but they make sure that they make it more episodic and made it more epic. Dino Thunder was a great season, minus Connor. Even though I'm not really a fan of Connor, I like Dr. Rowe because he felt more like a leader than a mentor. So he pretty much made this season watchable, to be honest with you. Dino Charge was good for what it was, season 1. But the second season just ruined it for me with the finale and just mixed issues going on with the show overall. Dino Fury, it has some issues as well. But what the currently season did for me, it provided us with great character background story with Zato and Ion's planet of Rapcon, and it also gave us a moment with Amelia's parents after something happened to them. Her grandfather was the one that raised her. So, Rangers, Officer Garcia, I really do not like the guy. I think he's a douchebag. I think he's a jerk. Even when episode 7, when Izzy got hurt, his father was a jerk to him. And Ollie is the worst ranger of them all. I feel like he is a complete douchebag. I think he was a real jerk. I wasn't really feeling the character. I mean, I know it's not the actor's fault, but I blame the writers for making him out to be just nah. So naturally, Hasbro seized the opportunity to bring back the tried and tested formula, but with a modern twist and spiraling story that we have not seen the conclusion of just yet. There's a familiar setup that can definitely ease its viewers who are returning to the franchise after a long hiatus. Speaking of long hiatus, I think the biggest L and the biggest error of this franchise when it comes to the new Spawn and the Hasbro era, where the dreadful hiatus, you have to wait 7 to 8 months for a brand new episode, and you couldn't even just make it into a 1-year season. And it's just so weird for you to do something like this, and it's getting on people's nerves and minds as well. And it didn't help by talking about it more when you can just watch new episodes and international spoilers. So at least we got some of that. But for the most part, I still don't like the long hiatuses. I think it just wastes people's time, and it's going to make people forget about the show being aired on TV. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that the long hiatuses ruin the Power Rangers. And it's all thanks to Nickelodeon's BS. They're the ones that ruined the franchise. They never cared for it. They never promoted the show right. And it just wasn't even that good. The coolest thing about Dino Fury is how much it pays homage to seasons that came before. The previous season, Beast Morphers, was basically the entire season devoted to the legacy of the brand. So it's cool to see Dino Fury being something new that is also reverses the past. And you know what? Unlike Beast Morphers, Dino Fury kept itself original and didn't really, brought back the nostalgia. And I think when it comes to Lord Zed being in the 14th episode, it really helped the show balance it out. And the fight scenes, the story, and the reason why Zed was back on TV. And even though they show clips of him in the past being the evil of Empire, and I just hope if they were to bring back Lord Zed in season 2 of Dino Fury, it would be the main villain, which I would love to see him interacting with the Rangers in battle. Not fighting with the Rangers, but fighting against the Rangers, like he did in episode 14. Now, season 3 of Mighty Morphin did that with the White Ranger, but he didn't really do that much. All he did was block and flip Tommy over. But I want to see him do more physical things, acrobatic stuff. So that's probably what I want to see Lord Zed do in season 2 of Dino Fury. So yeah, unlike Beast Morphers, Dino Fury is totally original. It doesn't rely on too much on nostalgia and, a bunch of callbacks back and forth. I may be wrong. Please correct me. Comment down below. Back to the article. From this first season alone, we get to see major callbacks to the events of Ninja Steel, the original Mighty Morphin seasons, and even additional lore from the ongoing Boom Studio comics. This kind of brand has not been seen in Power Rangers before, and it definitely opens up room for more Barrow stories and cameos. Now, speaking of that, Morphin Masters. Now, the Morphin Masters in Dino Fury is a reference to the Boom Studio comics, and I'm glad they actually added that into the season, which is something that's never done before in Power Rangers throughout the years. And I felt that they're actually able to put that in the comics. It is not only helpful, but it also made the show interesting because it gave us some information about Lord Zed, of how he is coming back, especially the Green Morphin Master. I don't know why we couldn't have other Morphin Masters return, but we need more Morphin Masters instead of just Green all the time. So it was kind of weird just seeing her all the time, especially in that season 1 finale of Dino Fury. But overall, I do think they need to give us more information about the Morphin Masters, much like in the Boom Studio comics. I think Dino Fury should end up doing the same thing as well. I just hope they do it right this time. They were the helpful addition to the show, so it kind of makes sense. The Power Rangers prides itself on its multiracial teams they have seen with each season, and the franchise definitely strives to outdo themselves. Dino Fury's main character is arguably the Pink Ranger, Amelia, a role that is usually reserved for the Red Ranger. Amelia in episode 11, she's definitely one of my favorite Pink Rangers based on that episode alone. The fight scenes and the way she handled that monster on her own, getting the blazing Dino Key, is what made the episode stand out the most. And it's definitely one of my favorite episodes from season 1. And shout out to Dino for doing a great job as the character. But I do have to say there are some errors to Amelia's character of how she's bubbly when it comes to the writing department. But it's not Dino's fault, it's the writers. So Amelia is one of my favorite Pink Rangers in Dino Fury because of her character background with the parents and the grandfather and why she is the way she is, hunting down ghosts and all that. So episode 11 definitely brought out the best out of that character. So shout out to Dino. That said, Dino Fury also has the first Black Six Ranger, with previous incarnations typically being white, Asian, or even Maori or Polynesian descent. That was a weird way to say it. The biggest step forward for the franchise comes with Izzy, who was the first first female Green Ranger, and also have an on-screen lesbian relationship. I was originally against this idea of Izzy being gay, because looking back in episode 4 with the way she ripped off her skirt, it was kind of clear to me that who was going to be the first LGBT Ranger on it. It is kind of obvious. I didn't believe it at first of her being gay. Watched the international spoilers. I watched the episode, I reacted, and I reviewed it. Go check it out. And I gave it a perfect 5 out of 5 for me because the way it was written, the way they got it set up, it wasn't really, in ways it kind of felt forced, but it wasn't really that forceful, to be honest with you. So the fact that they made her to be the lesbian Green Ranger was really cool, and I don't want them to go too much of that in future Power Rangers projects because I don't want it to be too woke, if you know what I mean. So yeah, Izzy is definitely one of my favorite Green Rangers in Dino Fury. She's cool, she's tough, I love her voice, I love her actress. I feel like she just brings up the best out of the season, even though she has some worst written episodes. But I think episode 4 and 13 are one of her best ones in my honest opinion. So yeah, let's continue. With most seasons of Power Rangers being somewhat standalone, bearing a few direct continuations, those who are new to the franchise can easily jump into the action of Dino Fury, from the get-go. I would disagree with that because Mighty Morphin was the first Dino season. Season 1 was. So if anybody who is new to Power Rangers can definitely just start with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 1 because it is a dinosaur-based thing. So it kind of makes sense. But what this part of the article is saying that people shouldn't watch Mighty Morphin, they could just jump into Dino Fury, those who are new. There are other Power Rangers Dino seasons that are available on YouTube where they could just watch Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, not just Dino Fury. But if you want to take a trip down a memory lane or what to check out for most of the reference of the something homage came from, the official Power Rangers YouTube channel has full episodes of previous seasons with more to come. All dinosaur themed seasons are also on there for fans to catch up on. And I'm glad it actually picked up what I was saying before. Honorable mention, yeah. That's what I'm trying to say. For the past decade or so, each and every season of Power Rangers has been split into 22 episode series, and the same has been done with Dino Fury. So for now, all 22 episodes of Dino Fury are now on Netflix, with the second season debuting on the platform sometime this year. Now, speaking of Netflix, I do hope that they give us a better show and a better season, but I think for the most part, it's going to be the same issue as the first season that it aired on Nickelodeon. It's going to be airing on Netflix with its bad or good episodes mixed up and down some point at the same time. But I think this is the perfect start of them airing full seasons on Power Rangers on Netflix because they get to have full control of that. Of their show, of their brand on Netflix. They can just do whatever they want with it and make it more watchable for kids, teenagers, and adults for all ages. But I think when it comes to Dino Fury, I think it's going to end up being good on Netflix as well. So that way you wouldn't have to wake up early in the morning to catch a brand new episode. We could just watch it on your own time, which is a great thing to start. So as far as splitting 22 episodes per year, it's kind of dumb. So the good news is that it's going to be airing in spring instead of during the winter time, because it usually airs January or February. But when it comes to springtime, that is the perfect way to start. And then you'll probably still air some international spoilers, you know, in the UK. So I'm definitely going to be doing my reaction to those episodes in my review of it as well. So make sure you guys be on the lookout. Southeast Asian fans in particular have always been a season or two behind when it comes to local broadcasts of Power Rangers. So for once, it is nice to have the entire world staying up to date with all things Power Rangers, and we definitely can't wait for future seasons to come to the platform. Me too. So whichever season they adapt from Sentai or Netflix, I'm sure it's going to be better, and I just hope that they can step up their game and just try to make it work. So yeah. So despite my stumbles when it comes to reading, I think for the most part this franchise isn't going anywhere now that it's on Netflix. It's clear to me that Hasbro knows exactly what they're doing. We just need to just be patient and just wait for the results of how good the show is doing on Netflix, because I know the ratings are going to end up dropping like nonsense. So yeah, I mean, tell me what y'all think in the comments down below. What did you think of the article? I'll put it in the description below, so y'all can read it for yourselves. And just come back to me. And if you read this article fully, then you come back to me and tell me your thoughts on it. Yeah, I'm just gonna end the video because number one, I can't talk right.